Please welcome to the stage Matthew Parsons, Head of Content and Communications at AltoVita, with our keynote speaker for today, Simon Thomas, Head Concierge of the Lanesborough.
Welcome everyone, welcome Simon.
Thank you, thank you. I've got to say, before we start, Karen, truly inspirational. Yeah, everything you said I couldn't agree more with. You know, that you've got to have this drive for sustainability, you've got to change the direction, and you seem to be leading the way. I'm just, wow, pretty impressed.
Right, let's talk
Sorry.
let's talk about marathons.
Yeah. Never run one.
We're thrilled to have you here. Obviously, we talked yesterday and you're very under the weather, so we're really happy that you could make it in.
Thank you.
It's really appreciated. So we've got about 15 minutes, and we're going to be talking about the human touch in hospitality in this area of technology, as we've just heard from Karen. Talking about we still need that human level of service. Before we do, I'm going to do a very brief introduction. If this works, let's have a look. Yep, so Simon is Head Concierge. It's very brief. I know you've got quite a long career, but Simon is Head Concierge at the Lanesborough Hotel in London. He manages a team of 30 people, and he's also the former international president of the Golden Key Society. This is an association of hotel concierges, and I think there are 3,000 members.
3,000 members, 48 countries worldwide,
Yep.
blah, blah, blah.
Right, okay. This is the Lanesborough. I think we've got a picture of, Which room is this exactly? I'm just intrigued by
this is our royal suite, and currently about £40,000 a night. So yeah, it's we talk about sustainability. There's a few carbon miles in that one now.
Okay. So I think it's fair to say, we talked about this before, the audience here is very much from the corporate accommodation sector, so probably more apartments, less hotels, less luxury hotels.
Yeah.
But these worlds are emerging, aren't they?
I would say that we're seeing a lot of new hotels going up in London, and the model has changed now. So whereas before the capital investment into a hotel, and then you try to get some of your ROI back over a period of time, now the apartments are becoming part of hotels, and that's been going on for quite some time. Probably about the last at least decade in London, where the build now includes a section of the hotel that is apartments, and that will be sold off, and that sort of reduces that capital investment, and you can go straight into running a hotel as it should.
Yeah, we were talking before about this, and you mentioned that this trend is not that new. I mean,
no.
You were talking about the 1950s.
Well, it like most things, it's circular, isn't it? We come back to the same point. If we look at, there's a hotel that I worked in for years and years and years called Brown's Hotel, one of the oldest hotels in London, and basically that was your pied-à-terre in London. So if you came from a rich family, they would give you a suite at Brown's Hotel, and that's where you'd live in London. And New York was very much like that, where you look at the Waldorf Astoria, and there were suites in there that they had for years and years and years. A lot of famous film stars lived there. The former presidents of the United States all had a suite at the Waldorf Astoria. That was sort of their New York home. So yeah, it's not a new thing. It's we're coming back round to it. Yeah.
When we talked about this before, it really kind of stayed with me. So I did a bit of research, and I came across this amazing hotel. So this is called the Ansonia in New York, and this was built in around 1900. And apparently, in those days, a hotel was called a residential hotel, and hotels were somewhere where you lived. You didn't just stay there for a few nights. It was where you lived, and this had a dentist, a butcher's, hairdressers, a bank.
Yeah.
I mean, are we going back? Do you think we could ever go back that far? Or?
Well,
concierges obviously as well.
We do have guests that stay with us, and it's at vast expense, and they stay for 12 months plus at the hotel in some of our biggest suites. That's not a cheap occupation to do that. It definitely kills the bank account. But the reason is, and we come back to that, is service. What they're really after is that hotel service. We discussed this in the world now. We get much more exposure to the better things in life, or the nicer things in life. We were talking earlier about if you're having your house remodeled or redone, you want it to hotel standards. That's a builder's term now. And I think we all have this exposure to it. So people expect a certain level of service when they're staying somewhere. And this is where that hotel apartment thing sort of cross-pollinates quite a lot.
So going back to, these buildings would have had, lots of concierges. What are the advantages in, say, the extended stay, these service departments, if there were concierges available?
Well, yeah, I mean, this goes back to when I was actually president of the Clédor, that's the Golden Keys, the official version of it. And we were speaking very closely to Marriott at the time, and their service departments division was looking at sort of making their service more hotel biased. And one of the things that they wanted, because this is internationally recognized, those travellers that do travel a lot do look for the golden keys on the lapels of the concierge. It's sort of an affirmation of a certain level of quality. And they wanted that for their apartments. And understandably so. So, it's trying to up the level of service that they're delivering. So we discussed that at some length, and we found an angle where we can accommodate them into our organisation, that we can give them the exposure, because they need the exposure in a fast operating 5-star hotel to actually see what the service standards are, but then go back to an apartment operation, which may be a bit slower. If the truth be known, it's a little bit slower, but you still, when they need that service, they've still got to have that access and still have that availability to be able to get the individual needs that that guest wants.
So in a way, it kind of comes down to branding a little bit, so they kind of respected the golden key.
Yeah, I mean, it's literally like putting the 5 stars on the door, and really that's what they were looking for.
Yeah. Another aspect, when you think of concierges, you think of that kind of local expertise, that local knowledge. Yeah. And I've noticed, there's some of the apartment providers we work with, for example, they won't call them curators, concierges, they call them curators or insiders. Ye's apartment is one example. Zoku, it's a European brand. They have kind of like local, residents, experts. Do you see that growing?
Well, it is growing. Constantly it's growing. And I think this is why you're getting those sort of deviations in name. Really, it is service, isn't it? That's the fundamental. That's what we're coming back to. That's what Karen was speaking about earlier. It's that face-to-face. There are certain things that just cannot be done. I embrace AI, and it does exactly what you said it does. It takes all the crap jobs away and leaves me to deal with the interesting things, which is people. So this is the fundamental. But I go back. I was at Virtuoso. We discussed this earlier. I was at Virtuoso in Las Vegas. I was doing a talk to 6,000 travel agents, and they are almost like a little bit of a hostile crowd. Everyone wants to own the guest. The hotel wants to own the guest. The travel agent wants to own the guest. We all want to make sure they're looked after. If the travel agent doesn't look after them, they're going to lose their client. If the hotel doesn't look after them, we're going to lose the client. So we're both vying to be the one that they go to first. And they were saying, well, why do we need concierge? We don't need concierge. We can get onto our phones and we can Google the best restaurant, or we can get onto TripAdvisor and find all this information out. It's one particular question. And I'd actually been in Las Vegas for 2 weeks with my daughter, 6-year-old daughter, and my wife. Not the best place to take your 6-year-old daughter. So I extensively used the concierge. This is my last week doing the conference. I sort of tried to tie the two in. So my last week there, I was trying to keep them occupied, and I'd used the concierge extensively. And then this one day I'd gone up to him, and he was packed, absolutely packed. There was loads of people at the desk, and I thought, same thing, I've got my mobile phone, I'll get on there, I'll find a nice restaurant to go to. And as I went on there, I looked up for the best restaurant in Las Vegas. And it didn't come up. It didn't come up as Guy Savoy or Gordon Ramsay or Joel Robuchon. No, it came up as Roy's Hawaiian Steakhouse. So that is why you still need people. You will never get away from that sort of on-the-ground feeling, that sort of connection that you have, the understanding that you've got with people. You need to have that sort of attachment. People do business with people. They get to know those people, they get to trust them, and they trust their expertise.
Yeah. I understand the theme of kind of local knowledge. You mentioned before the suite, which was 40,000 a night. This event very much focused on Europe today, EMEA region. How do you see rates at the moment? I mean, anecdotally, we hear that they're very high. I mean, how's business at the Lanesborough? How are you perceiving the market in London?
Well, we're seeing a change, and again, COVID has made us rethink our businesses. Sometimes for the better, sometimes not so much. But overall, I think it's made us reevaluate people, reevaluate what we deliver. So, if the truth be known, probably our rates are higher, much higher than they were. But what we're doing now is we're also looking after our teams. We're cutting turnover down. We're making sure that we don't fill the hotel to 100%. We're trying to now operate those hotels at 80%. So we're not overstressing everybody, that we're delivering on the service. And that raise in our price is justified by we're actually delivering what we promised to do, which is sometimes probably when we used to just put bums in beds and fill it straight to the brim, we were unable to do that. You've got no leeway. So now we're looking at the business and being far more strategic and offering those people actually what we promised to offer them and giving them that.
Is London still a market where perhaps the corporate sector should be looking to have a presence when it comes to apartments and extended stay, or should they look to increase the presence in the city? Or
I couldn't agree more with Karen. There is space for all of us. The world is changing. However, you're seeing some big economies. Saudi Arabia is going to be huge. It's going to change the whole dynamic, but the lust for travel doesn't change. I think it fulfills our soul. I think it's part of a human's need is to interact and spread your wings a little and educate yourself. It's part of, and the more we can do it, the more we want to do it. So the corporate world, yes, there's still going to be that one-to-one. Yes, we should be more mindful on the planet, but then maybe we're going to use more of our leisure time travelling and experiencing things.
Yeah. And then talking about the corporate market, we talked about this before, blended travel and remote work, the pleasure trips. What's your take on that? Being on the ground, with all your team, how are you seeing that? Do people work and travel more at the same time? Or?
Yeah, absolutely. And I've got to say, at the upper ends of corporate travel, it is totally blended, and they're using their time productively. If they've got to travel for business, they're not purely going on business. They're going there as well to experience some of the social aspects, some of the cultural aspects of that particular town that they're going to, or city. And I think it actually makes you a more balanced person in conducting your business. If you're going away purely on a business trip, which it was frowned on years ago if you dared to do anything apart from business on a business trip, you've had a bit of downtime, and I think people now realise that we do need downtime. We do need to look after number one as well as look after the business.
Yeah. I mean, something we've been talking about, probably non-stop since COVID, but it's interesting that you're kind of seeing it, within in the hotel or London. We've just got a couple of minutes left, unfortunately, so I want to go back to the Golden Key Society.
Yes.
Again, I've done my research. It started, I think, 1929 or 1950s. I'm not sure, but it began in France, Les Clefs d'Or. You've got images like this. You were president, obviously, international president. How does it stay relevant today when we do talk so much about technology and AI?
As I said before, really, it's that one-to-one interaction. It's that person-to-person. I've been asked to do some amazing things. Be a best man at someone's wedding. It's a guest of mine, and to be considered like that. When my daughter was born, I always go back to. I received lots of gifts and presents from people that I would have thought would have had better things to do. Than to worry about some concierge in London. So I was quite touched that people like those human interactions, and you matter to them. And I think for my own well-being, I have to understand that as well, that you matter to them, and you're more than that. They're away from their family and friends when they travel. You know, I always do that sort of paradigm shift of the guy that's really upset. You never know. He might have just been about to head home to see his family, and he's just been told that he's got another business trip to go off to Munich for another week. You know, and you will never know that from just seeing someone's face. But we have to empathise with those people. You know, travel is great when you're enjoying it. It's not so much when you have to. You know, it's a different thing. And the concierge is there. You know, they're especially in the Lanesborough, they're time poor but money rich. So if I can help them put some more time in the bank, then great. You know, they're definitely not going to put any more money in the bank being at the Lanesborough, but they might be able to give them a bit of more time. So if I can make their life a little bit easier and do some of those things for them, then so be it.
We'll just put up a more modern picture there, so we don't end on a downer. And then I think we are out of time, but I wanted to just ask you if there's one kind of takeaway you want to the audience, again from a very kind of like extended stay corporate market, to take, leave this event with. What thought would you like to share?
Well, I would just like to say exactly what Karen said, really. I mean, I do think that we have a responsibility to the planet. Travel's not going to stop, but how we travel and where we travel and what we travel with and what we do, we can all have an influence on. So that's probably what I would say, is consider what you're delivering and what you demand. They're really important, and the rest of it will follow. You know, it's down to all of us to do that. Those simple little things.
Yeah, perfect. Great. Well, we are out of time, so please join me in thanking Simon. So.
Thank you.
Please welcome to the stage Sana Shahari Sales, Investment Manager at Outsight, Kieran McCarthy, Director of Corporate Agency at Stay City, and Rob Clifford, Director of Sales at Guesty. This is a panel moderated by Tom Fleming, Senior Manager of Client Development at AltoVita.
Well, super. My first card was actually about to introduce everyone, so Rosie's done that for me, so thank you. Right, well, in that case, I think we'll jump right into it. This panel is essentially to look at how accommodation players can essentially succeed